Hello strangers, welcome. My name is Lucy and this is the This Nanny Knits knitting podcast, and I have not been here for a good while. It has been a good 6 months since I've made a video. Life has just been slightly chaotic, I'm not going to lie to you, so there hasn't been a great deal of knitting, well there hadn't been. So I don't really have anything to come on here and share with you, nor the time to hop on and share nothing with you. I always find that's a bit of a juggle, like, do I have enough to make a podcast? Do I not? But we are here today to catch up. I've got my coffee and I thought today was a good day as any to sit down and chat with you. I've been a little bit hesitant, I guess, to make a podcast and to come back because I don't know, it's just hard. The longer you leave it, the harder it is to come back. And it's been like, well, I'm having a bad hair day, so I can't record today, or I've got a spot, or and nothing is ever going to be perfect. But I'm here, and we're going to give it a go. So I have quite a bit to share with you. I'm here at my messy yarn cupboard. Unfortunately, the nice neat shelves that are shown through the glass are at the top, so you get the real life messy craziness that's going on in the lower shelves that normally can't be seen. I am feeling very inspired recently. I lost my mojo for a bit, but it's back and I'm back and I'm ready to get knitting. So in true podcast style, I will share all the usuals with you, what I'm wearing, finished objects, my works in progress, and things I would like to cast on soon. I probably should start and caveat this with I haven't done very many of my sweaters at the beginning of the year. If you saw any of my podcasts or my videos, you will have seen that I had very ambitious goals to knit a stupid amount of sweaters in a year. Excuse me, and I should have known that I wasn't going to reach that because of the life things that were coming up. But if we don't have goals, we can't even try, right? So all is not lost. There will be more sweaters. I'm really feeling at the moment that it's sweater weather, or at least sweater weather is coming, so I'm wanting to knit on the sweaters. I probably should add it is August the 24th. It's a Sunday. It's a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, so I've got tomorrow off. So this was a really good opportunity to sit down and chat with you guys. A little bit of extra time. So rather than sit here and waffle, I'll just get on with it because we might be here a while. I'll do a bit of a life update at the end because not everybody wants to hear about that, and then you can just switch me off and just be here for the knitting. What I'm wearing is the Annie vest by the lovely Sophie over at the Knit Pearl Girl. I love this. I test knit this for her. I told myself this year I wasn't going to do any test knits. No test knits, can't deal with the pressure, you won't get them done. But I had to. I just saw this one and I saw it a while before she put the test call up and I was like, that is me. What you can't see is that at the moment it looks very ill-fitting on me, but that is because this pattern, I'll put a picture in here, has buttons all the way down the back, which is what I love. That's like the little detail that really sold me on the test. However, I wore this last weekend, and obviously I'm wearing it again today. I've literally only put it on for the podcast, to be honest. But I wore it last weekend and we were out car shopping and the buttons kept coming undone. So my buttons aren't big enough, basically, for my buttonholes. So I did get the ones recommended, but my gauge must be slightly off or my buttonholes must be too loose or something. So it was really frustrating. So I was like, Dan, you have to keep an eye on the back of my top because my buttons keep coming undone. And it wasn't so bad if it was a couple of like the bottom ones because I had high-waisted jeans on anyway. But if it's like around the bra strap area, it doesn't look great, does it? So he kept going, yeah, stop, your button's undone, and standing there like discreetly trying to do my button up. And I was like, okay, I can't wear this top out until I change the buttons. But it does change the fit. So it is normally a little... probably shouldn't have worn it, but a little better fitted is because the buttons at the back are open and so it becomes a bit baggier and looser here. But I love it. However, I have remembered that I haven't got the yarn details. It was the recommended, oh, I've got it here, but that doesn't have the ball band. It was the recommended yarn. It's Gapard silk. I probably should look it up for you, but I'm a bad podcaster and just literally thought, do you know what, I'm going to hop on. So much so that we just got back from a small food shop and Dan was like, oh, I'm going to go and look online at more cars. Can I use your laptop? I said, no, I need the laptop. He was like, why? I was like, I'm going to do a knitting podcast. And he was like, what? Because I haven't done one in so long. He was in shock. So apologies, bear with me a second. The Annie vest, I used Gepard Garn Horse Silk. It's probably not how it's pronounced, so apologies. I used 3.44 skeins for this, which is 602 metres, and I made the 4th size, which is size D. Really happy with it. Really happy. I did have to go up a needle size. I went up to a 4.5. I think the recommended was a 4. Yeah. I had to go up to a 4.5. That always happens to me. I never get gauge. But anyway, love it. Really happy. I'll put some pictures in so you can see the back detailing and stuff with the buttons closed. But yeah, that's this one. So I finished that since I saw you last. I've got a few finished objects, but obviously it has been 6 months. So not actually as many as I should have. I don't even think last time that we spoke I'd finished my Dartmoor sweater. And I have finished that, and I wore it quite a lot in the cooler months at the beginning of the year, and I am so excited to get that one back out. But that and my first sweater are the only kind of like casual sweaters I've got that I can just chuck on and wear. So, apologies, there's my reminder going off to feed the dog. Yeah, so I really do want to get into some of these sweater goals because I want to have a few sweaters to choose from in the winter. Okay, let's get on to my second finished object, which I did just try on. It's probably now not finished because I think I'm going to have to shorten the straps. But let me show it to you. This is the Tolster Cami by Rebecca Clow of the Creative Bear podcast. And it's a modified. I took inspiration from Cocoon Knits. I always get her name wrong. I'll tag her down below. But she did a version with this ruffle and I loved it. Now bear with because I blocked this but laid it flat. So my ruffle is a bit flat and probably needs steaming. And I haven't sewn in my ends. But what I feared would happen has happened, and the V is a bit deep, so it's a little bit booby. So I think I need to shorten the straps a little, which isn't the end of the world because I can just, it doesn't have any like edging or anything, they're just kind of raw slipped edges on the straps, so I can just go in and pick them up and then figure out, I think, where I need to shorten them to. I was just looking for the extra yarn. I was planning to do longer straps on these and then tie like a double knit strap and then like tie them in a bow, like another pattern that I'm about to show you in a bit. However, I was playing a bit of yarn chicken and this is literally all I had left. So that didn't happen. So I did it as pattern, obviously not the ruffle, but everything else is as per the pattern. I put in some bust darts for the D shaping, I believe. And what size did I make? You're going to ask me all these questions that I don't remember. I cast this on over a year ago. And I know that because I was in Devon with my knit group. We went on a little knitting retreat and I cast it on there. I remember sitting in my hotel room with my friend Lorraine and casting on. It was like 660 stitches for this ruffle. And I sat there like casting on and Lorraine's like, I won't talk to you yet because you're counting, aren't you? I'm like, Like, it felt like I was counting forever. Sorry, I'm going to be looking at my phone for the details because I should share them with you. And I don't even know if they're in here. Actually, now I'm looking. That's really bad, Lucy. I'm so bad with Ravelry. I just have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. Sometimes I'm really good at going in and like the excitement of a new project and popping it in, and then other times like now, it's not even in there and it's been on my needles a year. Anyway, I'm not entirely sure what size I made. It would probably be the 2nd or third, I expect. And I used Socks Yeah yarn in the colour 110, which is malachite, which is like a foresty green, and I love it. And greens aren't normally my colour, but I do really like it. I just need to sort out that issue, and then I think I need to probably steam the ruffle. But then I guess I'm probably going to store it folded and flat, so it's probably just going to ruin the ruffle anyway, so I'm not quite sure. But I probably should also sew in the ends. There's a theme about sewing in ends in this podcast that you're probably going to get sick of listening to, but it's not my favourite hobby, funnily enough. So there's that one. I'm glad that's off my needles. Yeah, as I say, it's been on there a year, so it's a little bit late in the year to be finishing a summer knit, but it'll be there for me next year, so once I've sorted the straps. Let's move on. I've got a couple of recent finished objects. Now, I probably have finished other things during this time, but A, I don't remember what they are. B, I probably don't have them. And C, I don't think... There hasn't been that many. I know I've made a baby blanket because I had a new nephew who was born. So I made him a blanket with the Sweet Shop blanket pattern by Laura Penrose, and did it in half blue and half white triangles for them, for the baby. And there's probably been some socks here and there, but nothing very big. I have a crazy amount of whips and I'm trying really hard to clear some, but equally I'm going to be casting things on because I'm quite proud of my next finished objects. One of them is in here. Let me just put this little yarn nugget away and hide him in there because I don't even know why I'm keeping it, but anyway. This bag is from Sostrenic Wren. That's probably not how you say it, but you know that shop. Anna and Clara. It's everywhere. We've recently got one. But I love this little drawstring bag. It's very cute. This year I decided to take part in the Stephen West, the West Knits MCAL sock along. I did it one year before. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. Like the first year he did it. And loved it. Don't really wear the socks. I have worn them in my wellies a couple of times. The problem is I find with Stephen West socks is I cannot get my sizing right. Last year I think they were too big, which is why I was like, they'll be fine in wellies as like a second layer. This year they're also too big, but he changed all of his sizing this year, so it totally threw me off. But anyway, this year's requirement was 5 20-gram minis. There was some chat about contrast and stuff, but I just chose 5 minis that I really liked. And again, I'm a terrible podcaster because I don't have a sock blocker to hand, I don't think. I think they're over there, so I'm not going to get up. But I've done them, and they're too big. Well, they're a bit too big. They're not as giant and big as I thought they were going to be, but they are done. Both socks are done. I can't tell you where the minis are from. Sorry, the lighting isn't great. Because I pulled them out of a bag of random 20-gram skeins that are either from an advent leftover or just random ones I've got in a swap. Yeah, so apologies on that front. I don't know. They are all hand-dyed fingering weight 20-gram mini skeins, and these were really, really fun this year. I have had some quieter time at work over the last month, which we'll talk about later, which has been amazing. And very, very much needed. But it did mean, that doesn't show it very well, it did mean that I was able to take part in the sock along and keep up. The only thing I've got left to do is weave in ends. So I have woven in the ends of this sock. I spent my Friday night with my knitting group sewing in ends with my friend Christine, and Lily was also binding off a jumper and sewing in ends. But me and Christine were sewing in ends of these. How many ends do you think there were in this one sock? You want to have a guess? It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It looks quite cool on the inside, actually. Very cool. 84. 84 ends. Yes, I sat there and counted the bits of yarn that I snipped off. Because I'm that sad. 84, and I was on Zoom for 3.5 hours. Does that make me a really slow sewer or what? 3.5 hours. I really optimistically, and so did Christine, had my second sock there ready. I thought, right, I'll get the first one done, I'll do the second, and I'll take another project, because I sat in the dining room. Take another project, and then once I've done the sock ends, I can start knitting on my project. Got one sock done. Oh, so lame. Look at this. I'll show you the inside of the second sock. It's a disaster. Absolute disaster. It was such a fun knit though. It was very potato chippy. Like you just wanted to get to the next section. I felt it was really manageable. This is probably an MCal that I can keep up with, unlike the shawls. Look at this. How awful. I'm presuming there'll be 84 on here too, but who knows? It's just not fun, is it? It's great to finish the object, but then you're like, oh gosh. Anyway, that's going to keep me busy. I knit these on a 2.25mm needle. I use 9-inch circulars and then 2/16-inch for the toes. And I knit the third sides this year because the second size was 60 stitches, and I thought, oh, it's probably not going to fit if it's a colour work sock. That's probably going to be too tight on a 2.25, so I'll just knit the size 3. But then I think there were 72 or 74 stitches. I thought, oh, it's going to be massive. So I was kind of like toying with the idea, and then one of my other friends, Caroline, in a knit group said, oh, it's okay, I think I'm going to go for the third size. And I was like, actually, I'd probably rather they were too big than too small, because if they're too big, at least I can wear them. If they're too small, I'm just going to be really frustrated. And they could just be like slipper socks around the house. But I should have just done the size 2. I don't know if I'm loose or what, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this is what I have left yarn-wise. I definitely have most of this pink, but I was very much worried I was going to be playing yarn chicken with this colour. So they will now go in my scrappy blanket. And that is one bag emptied. I will show you the sock on. I'm going to be that awkward podcaster that tries to put a sock on and show you her foot. Because why not? Might not work actually, I've got jeans on, but let's see. Okay, here we go. Dum dum dum. Yep, really awkward. Can't show you that well. This is my Stephen West MCal sock along. I don't think it's called an MCal. I just keep calling it that because it's a mystery. I think it's called the Surprise Sock Along, SSAL, whatever. But I did it. I'm really happy I did it. I'm not so happy about the ends, but you know, that's life. I will get to them at some point. And I need to do a big mass sock wash because I have a sock basket, and once I've worn them, I put them in the basket and then just forget about the basket, and it piles up and it piles up, and then it comes to this point of the year and I'm like, oh, I should wash those while it's warm enough for them to dry, and then I'll have them all clean, ready for the winter. I have so many pairs of socks now, it's getting a bit ridiculous. But anyway, that's those ones. Sorry, I'm speaking really fast, aren't I? Right, let's do another finished object. I think I've only got one more. Yeah, I do have one more project, and you're going to be proud of this one, guys. I'm so proud. I've made such a conscious effort this past month to get it finished because it has been on the needles. This one is on Ravelry. It has been on the needles for since the 6th of October 2022. That's ridiculous. Almost 3 years. Wow. Are you ready? Can you guess what it is? Are you ready yet? Just ignore the ends. We're not talking about ends, okay? It's a bit of a theme going on here that I have more ends. She's done. She's done. Can you believe it? The MCal Twists and Turns 2022 is done, except for the ends and the blocking. But she's done. Look at this. Amazing. I am so pleased. Oh, look how curly it is. You can't even really see it. I'm so pleased I persevered. These long, windy strips, absolutely hated. Every single second. Which is probably what made this project stay on the needles for so long. Awful. Like, they look great, but really, really awful to knit. I did not enjoy it whatsoever. And I will point out a flaw, because nobody's perfect. This edge. So in case you don't know, you knit this very, very long wiggly cable section, the pink section. And then you've already got this, and then you basically fill in this section and go all the way up and decrease this way. Decrease as you go. And it looks quite good here. I decreased, it worked well, connected it onto here, looks great. On my second side, not so great. I figured you wouldn't know when you've got it on, and there was absolutely no way I was ripping anything back, because at this point I was just so frustrated. I wanted it done. But I have a much wider piece here. It's almost as wide as the pink bit than I do on the other side. So I'm not quite sure what happened. I don't really care. I'm going to wear it, and you're not going to be able to tell, because it will be something like this. I did go for the slightly longer option. I had told my friends that I wasn't going to. I was like, I just want it off my needles. I'm going to do the very bare minimum, because you can do this pink section and then bind off. But I didn't think it looked quite finished, and I'd put so much effort into it. I thought, you know what, just do those last few stripes. It will be fine. The yarns I used, which if you've been here before you will have heard, but not for a very long time, so I will quickly tell you. This grey is from the Lonely Knitter, is it? Yeah, and it's called Hawkins Lab. It's just a fingering 75-25. I say just. It's lovely, but it's just a merino nylon blend. I then used... I'm trying to remember which are which. That was the grey. The pink must be this one. Yeah. Sorry, I was having a bit of a brain fart. I totally couldn't think of anything. Blush Yarns is this pink, I believe, and this is a 75-25 also. I'm pretty sure this is one of the skeins that Natalie very kindly gifted to me a very long time ago. It doesn't have a colour name, it's just a beautiful pink. And then lastly, I had two skeins of this variegated white that's got some pinks and oranges in it, and this is by Curated Yarn Co, and it is it's her platinum sock base 75-25 also, and in the colourway Stupid Cupid. I've quite a bit of this one left over, so it took two of these. So this is the main colour, the grey, took two of those, two of the contrast colour, which I have quite a bit left of, and then one of the accent colour. Really happy with these colours. I love them in the shawl. Turned out really nicely. I just got quite a lot of yarn left over, so that's a nice little treat. I'm going to block it, sew in the ends. I'll probably sew the ends in first. I'm clearly going to have a sewing in ends party, which is going to last 1,000 hours. And then she will be blocked. So that will be done next time I see you for sure. Although who knows when you'll see me next. It might be another 6 months. No, I'm joking. I'm hoping it won't be, but you never know with me, do you really? Let's face it. I'm going to put all my needles in one bag and then sort that out another time. Okay, that's it for finished objects. As I said, there's probably been a few more, but I can't remember. And they're not here, so it doesn't count. All right. Sorry, bit of ice. Okay, let's talk about... what should we talk about? Let's talk about this one. Not finished. This is a work in progress, and actually I haven't worked on it in a little while, but I'm not sure if it was even a work in progress when I saw you last. Might have been. Can't remember. It's been such a long time. This is the Dust of Snow shawl by Curious Handmade, which is Helen Stewart. Sorry, I always forget her name. Her name's Helen Stewart. And I'm using the Bird Street yarn Advent, which was like the musical themed one. Not sure what year it was, if I'm honest. And I'm using that paired with Stephen West's Glow Hair. Sorry, I'm looking up there because it's up there. Glow Hair Mohair. Glow Hair Mohair. And here is where I'm at. I'd really like to start working on this as a bit of a priority because I think this is going to be amazing for the winter. So it's working up in a gradient. It started with these silvery kind of pinkish tones, and now we're going into the pinks. Oops, I've taken the needles off for something else and put these on, but they're not that secure, so I need to be careful. It's now going into deeper pinks. I think we keep going into pinks for a little while, and then I think we're transitioning into purples and blues. So if you know this pattern, you'll know it's a very, very long pattern. Like this is going to be a very long kind of scarf situation. I'm currently just over 30% complete. So it's probably going to take me a little bit of time. I'm also a bit annoyed. I don't know why I do this, but I always point out my flaws. Also a bit annoyed because at some point here on the slipped edge I clearly knit it or purled it in one place, and in the grand scheme of things you can't tell, but it's all the way back down here and there's no way that's getting rectified. But yeah, beautiful pattern, beautiful yarns. Just need to get a wiggle on really, don't I? Get knitting that one. I am knitting it in a 4.5mm needle, and it is living in my project bag that the lovely Danny over at the Knitter's Suitcase made for our knit group as a commission in 2023. It's got a little tag in there and it's beautiful. We commissioned her to make one for everybody, and that was like the group's gift for that year. And it's such a stunning bag, and I use it all year round, even though it's Christmassy, because generally I've still got a lingering Christmas project, and I see that as kind of like a wintry project. So that's living in there with the pattern. Probably should put that back in there, and should put the needles back on there. I expect no, they're not the MCal needles. Don't know what I took the needles for that for them. Might be this next project. What should I show you next? I've got 3 more. Well, let's show you my latest cast on. No, let's not. We'll save that. Let's show you this one. This is another lingering whip, and I couldn't even find this, and I started panicking thinking that I'd lost it. But I really, really need to pick this up. This is the Go-Go Dynamo. There's a theme here, isn't there? Stephen West MCal Shawl 2024. And I'm not that far ahead, and I haven't sewn in any ends, and I never learn my lessons. Yeah, this is the Go-Go Dynamo shawl, and I'm not that far into it. I have done the semicircles, I've joined them, I've done these bobbly sections, I did a brioche section, did another bobble section, and now I'm pretty sure I'm at another brioche section. And honestly, just put this down for other things. And then I was like, well, I probably should just finish them in order. So finish the twists and turns, and then you can start concentrating on this one. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Is that where I am? Then is it brioche next? Section 4, section 5, section 6. So I put it down at a brioche section. Great, making life harder for myself, because whilst I can do brioche, it makes me nervous, and I really have to concentrate, because if I do something wrong, there's no fixing this. No fixing it. And I used a mohair just to overcomplicate things. So let me share with you the yarns, because that's what you're here to see really, isn't it? The yarns I'm using for this one are Castle View Yarns Troll Hair in their sock base, which is 75/25. I love this. I don't even know why I bought this. I just saw it and needed it, and I had 2 skeins of it, I think, and thought that'll work perfectly. So that's my contrast colour. Sorry, I'm looking at the pattern. And my main colour, oh my gosh, this is incredible, and I'm really excited to get this finished, because this might be the softest thing that I own. Is Bird Street yarn, bare naked, 4-ply. So it's baby grey alpaca, 70%, 20% silk and 10% cashmere. It's stunning. It's blown out quite a lot, I'm sorry. I did open the blind because it was a bit dark in here. Now it's a bit blown out and shadowy. This is the most incredible yarn I think I've ever felt. I had one of these in an advent. It must have been that I've only ever had one advent from them. So it's like the musical themed advent. And I went and bought another one for this project because you needed two. And I thought this is just going to be the most perfect yarn. And then there was the option to use mohair. And so I had some of this Lang Lace mohair left over from my Souffle by Laura Penrose. And quite a bit of it left over. So actually I thought that might make a really nice kind of contrast. So I've used that down here in the brioche section, as you can see. So I'll do that again in the next brioche section. And then crack on, but this one's obviously got quite a lot left to do. In my head a couple of months ago I was like, yep, I'll get the twists and turns done, then I'll move on to the Go-Go Dynamo, and then it'll be October and we can do it all over again. So why don't I learn that clearly MCAL shawls aren't for me, because I can't keep up with this amount of knitting. However, I have massive FOMO. So twists and turns was 22. I didn't do 23. This is 24. And I have massive FOMO that I didn't do 23. So am I going to get the same FOMO if I don't do 2025? I don't know. Help. I know the sensible answer is no, Lucy. Shawls aren't your main focus. And you don't need another shawl. You clearly can't keep up, so don't knit them. But what if it's amazing? I'll probably never knit a Stephen West shawl at any other time, because I don't have the patience. They're all so ginormous and massive that I need the MCAL excitement. Equally, I'm not sure there's going to be much MCAL excitement in my knit group because I think they're all a little bit knitted out as well, especially for massive projects like this. And surely I should be focusing on sweaters because it's more wearable than a shawl. I mean, I do wear shawls when it's really cold, but I have a few shawls now, so do I need another one? I don't know. I'm trying to justify it to myself. Help me out. Let me know. What shall I do? I know what you're all going to tell me. You're going to be like, Lucy, give over. Just don't put yourself through it again for another year or two. But it's tricky, isn't it? That's how he gets us, that Stephen. It just sucks us in. Anyway, I'll stop waffling now. And what's that knit on? You're asking me. I can hear you yelling me. You don't care. 3.75, just in case you were ever wondering. I mean, it's been around for a while, so you probably know everything about it. I don't even remember, if I'm honest, exactly what it looks like. I probably should go back and see on the finished object. Oh, sorry, I'm really uncomfortable. My hips, I'm getting really old. I probably should go back on the finished objects and see on Ravelry what it actually looks like. Oh, feeling really old, sat here on the floor. I just love sitting on the floor. I don't know if it's because I've always worked with kids and you're just on the floor playing with them and whatever, but I'm normally quite comfortable. I think as I've got older, probably realised it's not the place to be. But we're in a little bit of chaos here and I haven't got my office chair up here, it's downstairs, so the floor was the only option other than sitting in my bed, and I didn't think that was really appropriate for a podcast. And I would not get any recording done downstairs because it's all crazy down there. I actually need to message Dan. Bear with. Because my reminder went off and that was to feed the animals. And I don't think he would realise. I have to set a reminder because I kept forgetting, which is really bad. Okay. There you go. He hasn't. I'll ask him to. Please, can you? Anyway, 2 more works in progress. Obviously I have more, but they are hiding in the deep dark corners of this room. I mean, there's not loads, but there's quite a few long-term projects. I've got a scrappy blanket, a couple of scrappy blankets, an advent blanket. Yeah, we're not even going to go into it. One day they'll be gone, but right now 2 more objects, whips to show you. But first, I need your help on. I need your advice. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. It's just going to make me really sad. I have the Camel's Yarn Advent, which year? They all roll into one, I'm not going to lie to you. I have a couple of years, so I'm not sure if it was the last year just gone or the one before, one of their Advents. It might be the one just gone actually, but whatever. I've got a Castle View, no I haven't. I've got a Camel's Yarn Advent, and I wanted to make a Kintra sweater by the Creya Bayer. And so I bought some Camel's yarn to go with it at Unravel, I think last year. And then obviously when I got back from Unravel, got really excited, cast it on and then left it in a bag. So let me show you. I chose this colour as the main colour. So this colour is within the Advent, but I chose this colour to be the main colour. Again, not great. It's a light beigey pink. It's called Seawater Lovely Shell because it was kind of sea themed, and it's a lovely, lovely colour. And the Advent is quite dark, not dark, it's got browns, it's got greens, it's got brownie greens. It's got quite a lot of different, it's got dark pinks, and I'm just looking in the bag at all the other colours, but quite a lot of like earthy, darky-ish colours. So I thought I'll go for a lighter colour because that will probably show off the darker colours. But what I need to remember is that I'm very pale, and I'm not sure this colour is my colour because it just looks like my skin. So I'm really hesitant and I don't know what to do. I'm not very far into it, so let me show you. I also don't like my collar. I think it looks really messy. Probably would block out, but I don't like it. I don't even remember in the pattern as to whether it's folded over. I mean, I could. I think it would look better folded over. It's really hard to show you because it's so small. And I've started a little bit of the colour work. Again, you're not going to be able to see this, are you? Just trust me. I've started. But do I think that the pink colour is the right colour for me? Look, it just looks like my skin, doesn't it? I don't know if it just washes me out. Maybe it will look better as I go. It's really a bad representation of the colours. So I'm not sure what to do. They also kind of blend into each other a little bit. Do I want to put that much effort into a 4-ply sweater that I may not wear? I don't know, help. But I've bought the yarn, so I feel like if I don't, it's a waste. I know I could use it for something else, but what else am I going to use it for? I'm kind of kicking myself too because there was a brown colour that I was toying between. I was like, oh, should I go the dark brown or should I go the light pink? And I think the brown colour, I wonder if I've got it in here. I think it was this one, and I can't remember the name of it now. I want to say sea urchin, but I don't think that's correct. It's kind of a brown, but it's got like speckles in it of all sorts of colours. It's got some dark amber, some purple, some blue. It's a stunning colour. And I wonder whether I should have got that as the main colour. So that's where I am. I'm feeling a little frustrated and defeated by this one because I'm just being indecisive, but I equally don't want to put work into something and then decide I don't love it. Maybe it's not the right yarn. Maybe it's not the right pattern. Maybe I just rip it out and forget it ever existed. I don't know, but what's your opinion? I am happy to take any advice if you have any. If not, I will put it back in here and ignore it for the rest of time. Oh, the needle was poking out. Lovely pattern, and I just think maybe this isn't the right yarn for it. It's knit on a 4.5mm needle. I did a gauge swatch. I'm not sure if 4.5 is what's recommended, but I got gauge on a 4.5, hence why I went with it. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Help. Help a girl out, because she's indecisive. Right. Okay. I feel like I've sat here and waffled on for a really long time, but it was bound to be a long episode when I've not been here for 6 months. Okay. Oh my gosh, do you know what I've just realised? That wasn't the brown colour I was on about. Hold up. Because I have that brown colour. Wait. Where was the dark brown? Because that might help you to help me. Unless I don't have the dark brown in here. I'm not sure all the colours are in here. Oh gosh, Lucy, you are a disaster. Do you know that? Just chat amongst yourselves for a sec. I don't know what colour it was then. Oh, just ignore me. I'm not even sure. Maybe I was toying with that colour and that's why I bought it anyway. But now doesn't quite look right. I thought there was a darker brown. Anyway, forget me. I'm just talking out loud and not making any sense. The last work in progress. Let's talk about this. This, I also purchased the yarn and pattern for a year ago. Over a year ago. It was June 2024. As I've already alluded to, my knit group and I went to Devon and we went to the John Arbon Textiles show, that open mill weekend. Had a lovely time, but also while we were there we went to Wool on the X and Along Avec Anna. Any others? All the yarny stores, and I purchased 3 balls of the Along Avec Anna merino, and I bought it in 3 colours. This colour is Pralines, so it's a pinky colour, surprise. Yeah, this is their 4-ply merino. It's super soft, super lovely yarn. And then I bought it in a yellowy colour that I can't read from here, and also a kind of like dark royal blue, with the intention of knitting some Tolsters and a posy, which I believe is a pattern by Along Avec Anna. I remember being in Devon, buying the pattern, like literally I bought the yarn, bought the pattern, and then just never did anything with it because I think I got excited about the Tolster, so then ended up working on that. But I only started this a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I've completed the lace pattern, so I'll put a picture in here, but the posy tank is a tank knitted bottom up, and all along the bottom for a good few, oh gosh, really hard to show you, good couple of inches, it's got a lovely lace pattern. Now I'm just in the round stockinette all the way up to the underarms, and then I will split to do the fronts and the backs. It's a vest, so it's got a V-neck, and then I'm going to do those double knit straps that I was talking about earlier, because that's what we saw when we were in the shop. They had some samples and they had these really lovely tie, bow tie, what's the word? Straps that sit up here and you can tighten them, loosen them, whatever. And I thought that would be really handy, because if it grows whilst blocking or wearing, at least I can just do the ties up a bit tighter and then it won't be too revealing in the cleavage. That was my theory. However, I've only got 3 balls of this and I'm on my 2nd ball already, and I know those double knit straps are going to take quite a lot of yarn, so that is going to be depending on where I'm at when I get to that stage. I do think that I bought enough yarn, because I remember working out the issue might be, is a year ago I was definitely a little bit smaller than I am now. I've definitely gained a little bit of weight. Not that I'm mad about it. It's just a season in my life. It's just happened. So maybe I had planned to make a smaller size than I'm making. I don't know. And I'm trying to think now what size I'm making, but I'm using Knit Companion at the moment to try and stop printing out my patterns. and I have put it on Ravelry. Check me out. I'm knitting the 3rd size, so maybe a year ago I would have knit the 2nd size, and maybe that's why I might not have enough yarn. I mean, I might have enough, who knows. I started on the 26th of July, so definitely more than a week ago, Lucy. More like a month ago. Anyway, this is what I'm making. This is the colour. The garment is knit on a size 4mm needle, and I'm just in the round, which is making for great knitting whilst in meetings and lessons and things. So that's working quite well right now. I do want to get this finished. Now, I know it's the end of August and this is kind of pointless. I feel like, okay, I'm going to have a little rant here, so I'm apologising ahead of time. I do feel like I'm always knitting out of season. So I feel like I should now be starting my woolly knitted big jumpers, garments, because then they'll be finished in time to wear them. Whereas this obviously would have been great to knit 4 months ago and then have it to wear when the weather was warmer. Maybe even more than 4 months ago. So I need to work on that a little bit. That's one of my goals for next year. However, I don't want this on the needles next year, because this long-standing whip thing is getting old. Don't you think? Just get the project done, Lucy. Like, it won't take a lot. The issue is, I did the lace and really enjoyed the lace. I was like, this will be great, because when I get in the round, I'll just be knitting and knitting and knitting. And then I knit it and I'm like, I'm so bored of knitting in the round. Is that just me? Can you relate? Do you do that too? You're like, yeah, get through the complicated bit. Get to the easy bit. I'll love it. It's great sitting and knitting and watching TV. And I'm sat there knitting away whilst watching TV, falling asleep because it's so boring. So it's kind of my meeting knitting, but given that I've not had a lot of meetings and the summer's quite quiet in my line of work at the moment, which you'll learn more about later, obviously I've not been doing a lot of that. So watch this space though. Like I say, I want to get this one. I've got, fluff or yarn or mohair or something on my nose. I want to get this one finished. Again, beautiful bag. Sorry, I haven't really alluded to many of the bags. This one is, it came from Blush Yarns. Who made it though? Or did it? I thought it had a name in it. Oh gosh, this is how chaotic my life is. You're just going to have to take my word for it. I'm pretty sure this came from, oh it does, yeah, here. Mountain State Stitches, yeah, Natalie, she works with, or did work with Mountain State Stitches. So this came with one of the advents. Okay, I'm whipped out, that's it. I'm not showing you any others. I will be here all day if we share them all. So, let's talk about what I shouldn't be casting on, but probably will. I've absolutely no business casting anything else on. Sorry, I'm going to have to sit like this for a minute because old lady hips. Yeah, I shouldn't be casting anything on. I've clearly just proved that by showing you only 4 of my whips that I'm like, yeah, I want to get that one finished. Yeah, I want to get this one finished. That won't be on my needles next year. But there are things I want on my needles right now. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like I deserve a new cast on because I finished the Twist and Turns and that was a massive project. And I kept up with the M-Cow socks. Again, great project. And I can't really reward myself for this. It was a while ago. But I finished the cami. So I feel like I deserve something. So let me share my thoughts with you. There's only a couple to share. But last year, I cast on these really, really cute Halloween socks. They are ghosts. Do you remember these? Did I share these? Probably. They are ghosts. And I believe these are socks by Stone Knits. She has some amazing colour, well, I think that is her niche. She does colourwork socks and they're all such cute little patterns and I love them so much. Oh my gosh, Lucy. Anyway, we're about to do, this is going to be another whip because I've been lying to myself. Anyway, I wanted to make these ghosty socks because I saw them too late, so it was probably already October. I was never going to finish them in that month. And let's face it, they're October socks. But October came and went. I don't really do anything for Halloween, but I just thought they were cool. So I naturally put them in a bag and forgot about them. But I saw them pop up on my Instagram feed the other day and got really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I want to knit those. But I need to rip mine back. So I had told myself, there's the other needle. Is it? Sorry, hold on. Yeah. I had told myself that I needed to rip these out because I'd knit them on a 2.25 and they were too tight because colourwork socks, everybody knows you should go up a size because your tension seems to be a bit tighter. And I did. I obviously started in a 2.25, but I must have ripped them back. So I've actually done half of the work because these are on a 2.5. I am, however, wondering, they are pretty tight, whether I should just rip back and do that colour work or whether that will block out. It's only a smidge, but it does seem to be a bit bumpy in between. Oh, great job, Loose, for actually going back and doing it on the right needle. But yeah, those ghosts need to be a little bit looser, so I'm going to have to. But let me share the yarn with you. So these will probably be a quick knit. I can't remember as to whether the ghosts are all the way down the sock. I think you probably could, or you could just do them round the top and then continue doing vanilla, which might be more my style. This lovely yarn was actually gifted to me by my friend Erica. She sent this to me. We used to send each other like little parcels and stuff, but hasn't postage gone up recently? Anyway, she's in the States, so she sent me this really cool colourway. It was from Yarnable, and it's called Sweet and Sour, and it's their plush sock fingering base, 8515. By Hypnotic Yarn. Sorry, I missed that part. Yarnable is like a yarn box subscription in the States, and I think they work with dyers, so this is Hypnotic Yarn. So it's a variegated orange, pink, creamy base, which, if I'm honest, I wasn't sure what else to do with this because I've only got one skein of it, and I don't think orange is my colour. When I saw these socks, I was like, that will be great. You do lose a little bit of it in like this ghost, for which way am I going? This ghost, for instance, because he's got really pale pink in the eyes, where the variegation of the yarn is kind of lost. But I think it's fine. So I was using that as my main colour with, I think this is just an undyed mini that I had. And then again, a leftover grey for the ribbing, which I'll probably do. Might not have enough actually to do the heel and the foot, so we'll see. We might just do the toe. Sorry, not the foot, the toe. Might just do the rib and the toe. I did a 2x2 rib, and yeah, I think my plan is to do, I don't know, should we have a little look at the pattern? I've got Ravelry open, so it would make sense. Although I'm not sure what they're called, but maybe if I just put in ghost socks, it might tell me. No, it's not going to. There's like a whole bunch of ghosty socks. Giving myself a lot of editing here, aren't I? Stone Knits. She's got so many good ones. I love her colourwork socks, and I think maybe that's what I'll do in the future. Oh my gosh, she's recently released some cow ones. They are stunning. Right. Bear with. So, spooky sock set. Sorry, this comes as a set. I'm remembering now. There's witches and there are ghosts. So you can do them kind of like all down the sock. But then I think you can also like just do, although maybe everyone has done it all down the sock. I think they have actually. But a bit like the witchy ones, you could just do them around the top and then knit the rest of the socks vanilla, which is what I was sort of thinking. Because I've got quite a lot of the main colour yarn. Yeah, that's kind of the spooky sock set. I was thinking I would just probably do a round or two of ghosts and then go vanilla. Maybe I could do like a round at the top, then do vanilla and the heel, and then a round by the toe. What do you think? I was just think like, you're not really going to see them by the toe, so I'm going to be in my shoes. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know. I'm not very experienced in colour work, clearly, because I need to rip this back. That's definitely going to be too tight. Do you have any colour work tips for me? I think my floats are probably just too tight. I'm just so used to kind of knitting around and around on 9 inch. So if you've got any colour work tips for me and any opinions on how many ghosty levels I should do on my sock, please let me know down below. But that's obviously going to be more of a immediate thing, I think, because it's quite time pressured, being that October will be fast approaching and I would like those to wear in October. But as I say, I don't really do anything for Halloween, but it would be quite cute to have them and not lingering around any longer. Okay, 2 other things that I want to talk to you about. I have a sweaters quantity of Sandnes Garden Double Sunday in the shade 4033, I think. Yeah. I always get confused because it's Farge and Partey, and I never know which one's the dial and which one's the colour number. But I think it's 4033. I purchased this. This is a DK yarn in, I think it's like Ballet or something like that it's called. I purchased a sweater's quantity of this because I was making the Northern Lights sweater, which is by a Ukrainian designer, and I had got really far on it, but I had made a mistake. It was kind of like it was going to have a zipper here, the high kind of neck. I'd made a mistake somewhere here. I couldn't live with it. I didn't want to reknit it. The pattern was a bit difficult because English isn't its first language, and so I don't think it was translated perfectly. And I'm not that confident as a knitter. I just like to follow a pattern. I don't want to have to figure it out, do the math. Like, I just want to knit it. So I think I'm going to use this, and I'm going to get some off-white kind of creamy beige and make a stripy sweater. I'll obviously still have quite a bit of this left, but that's okay, you can use it for something else. But I think this as a stripy sweater would look great, and as it's a DK, it will be nice and warm. So that's my plan. I asked out on Instagram of stripy sweater patterns, and the 2 that I had in mind were the Sibling Sweater by Laura Penrose and Stripe Hype by Kutavika, I think is her name. They were the 2 that I had on my radar. I know there are others out there, but those 2 kind of stick out to me as being my fave. But that's kind of as far as I've got. I think I had more votes for the Stripe Hype when I asked on Instagram. But the Stripe Hype is made in like 5, 6 different colours, like one main colour stripe and then changing the colour stripe, which is maybe why it's more popular, I don't know, whereas the Sibling Sweater is intended to be a 2 coloured striped sweater. But I will be doing 2 colours regardless, because I've got quite a lot of this to use, and I didn't really want to buy any more yarn because, as you can see, my cupboard isn't even closing. But I feel like it's quite a good investment given that this will get some of this out of stash. So I'm happy to buy yarn if it goes with something else. That's what we tell ourselves, right, as knitters? That's the excuse. So I think that will make a lovely stripy sweater. However, a lot of you reached out to me and also said you would love to make a stripy sweater for the autumn-winter season. So I was thinking, because I'm back, whether we could do a stripy sweater now. If anyone is interested, it wouldn't have to be, you wouldn't have to do the same pattern, but if you wanted to make a stripy sweater and you wanted to join in with me as a bit of motivation and win a prize possibly, then maybe we could do it together. So let me know down below if you want to. If there are enough of you that would like to, then we'll make that a thing. And I don't know, maybe we'll do like a Zoom cast on party and I'll make sure there are some prizes. I just think it'll be quite fun. I personally have lost my knitting mojo a little bit. I mean, it's come back in the last month, but this year has been a bit of a knitting fail. And you'll find out why later when I talk about life things, but it's just been busy and it hasn't been my top priority, but I've missed it so much and I've really missed sitting down talking with you guys, and I think this kind of like Mao thing will just spur me on. So no pressure, because I'm going to make it anyway, but it'll probably be on my needles for 3 years. But that's my plan for that. And then I've got so many other things I want to make. Oh, I lied to you. I'm talking about 3 cast-ons. I also bought this when I went to the John Arbor Mill Open weekend last year. This is their Yarnadelic worsted weight yarn, and it was one of the colourways of the weekend. It's called the beautiful ones. And it's a very lovely, neutrally beige, but it's got twisted plies of pinks and blues and goldeny kind of colours, and you can't appreciate it very well on camera. But it's stunning, and I bought this with the intention to make the Moby by Petite Knit. Now, I have swatched for it, and I've just realised I've left my swatch downstairs, so I can't show it to you. But I didn't get gauge. But I love the fabric that it made, and in order to get gauge, thanks to Lily, she's told me I would need to go up a needle. So, context, I was talking about this on Friday Knit Night Zoom, and I was like, oh, I didn't get gauge because I only got, you need to get 20 or 22 stitches per 10 centimetres, and I got that many stitches in 8.5 centimetres. I was like, so I'm going to have to go down a needle size, and I don't want to make a whole complicated textured sweater in 3.5mm or a 3mm needle, because that's ridiculous. And Lily was like, Lucy, you have to go up a needle size. And I don't know why, but this always boggles my brain. I always get it wrong. So this is why I waffle on to my knit group, because otherwise I would have cast this on or swatched in a needle size lower and it would have been wrong, and then I'd have got frustrated. Anyway, all that to say is thanks to Lily for pointing out that it needed to be a bigger needle. But I don't want to make it in a bigger needle. I don't want to go to a 4.5 or a 5mm, because I like the fabric that it made, and I think it would be a bit holey, like gappy, if I did it in a bigger needle. So Lily is very kindly looking at the maths for me. She's the maths whiz of the group, and she's gonna, if she can, help me determine, it's quite a complicated pattern, but she's gonna try and help me determine what size I would need to make with the gauge that I have. My brain can't comprehend this, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm just not smart enough. If not, do you know of any patterns that are similar to the Moby that I could use this worsted weight yarn for? It's a light Aran / worsted, so I've got 216 meters per 100 grams. I know the Salty Days sweater, also by Kutavika, is similar and stunning, and I really want to make that, but I think that's DK. I'm not sure this is going to work. Thoughts? Help a girl out. I just want to use the beautiful yarn. I just don't know what to make with it. I really want the Moby, and I know people have a bit of a thing with Petite Knit, but I really like that design. But I am put off by how difficult the pattern seems to be. Every time I look at it and I'm like, oh gosh. I think it would be fine if you broke it down into steps, but as a whole pattern, it's a little overwhelming. So let's see what happens with this. I would like this knit this year. Lastly, when I was at Unravel and I bought the camel's yarn for the Kintra, I did also buy the one that I was showing you. I thought it was a dark brown that I was alluding to when I showed you that little mini skein, but it's not. It's exactly the same colour as this, so I'm a bit confused. I'm sure there's a dark brown in that advent, like the mini skein that I had, that I was toying with buying for the main colour for the Kintra. It's not in the bag. I don't know. Anyway, I also bought this colour because I love this colour. Sorry, I don't know how well my camera is picking that up. This is Coralina, and this is on Hannah's BFL Singles 4-ply fingering weight. It's 100% British blue face Leicester, and it is 400 meters per 100 grams, and I got 2 of them. But I also got the matching mohair. Is it mohair? Oh, sorry, the Surrey silk lace, which is 65% baby alpaca and 35% mulberry silk. So my plans were for this to make a lento. Now this excites me. This is all the feels right now. I just want to make it. I just want to cast it on, but I know I shouldn't. So I'm not going to, because I'm going to reward myself with this one once I've done something else. I think I probably should get the whips down a bit more, and I know that's silly, of me to say that. But it's sensible, Lucy speaking. But how gorgeous are these? I love Hannah's yarn so much. And it's unravel again in a couple of weeks. And I think I'm going to go. I haven't bought a ticket or anything or yet, like, totally decided. I think I'm going to go. Although I'm not going to buy any yarn, famous last words, because I don't really need any. I've got quite a lot. My problem is I have a lot of sweater quantity yarn. That's where I fall short. I've just got random yarn. Anyway, that's it for the knitty chat. Don't think I've got anything else to share with you. So I'm going to talk about life, which has been chaotic. Since I saw you last, I've had another hissy fit with my job. We have been doing a kitchen renovation, knocking down walls. Our house has been wild, and we've welcomed a new puppy. So that might explain my 6 months of absence. So my job wobble was again the same thing, really. Was losing nanny hours, needing to pick up other hours, just kind of having a bit of a, oh my gosh, I don't really know what I want to do with my life situation. It's kind of rectified out for now. It's still quite a lot. I'm still working long hours, but I feel like I might be getting somewhere with it. So I dropped down my nanny hours even further. I now only work, what do I work for them? 20 hours a week with the girls. And yeah, 30 hours a week in what was my admin role. And I still am doing some of the admin. But I have also undertaken a project management apprenticeship, which is super exciting, but also a lot of work. So I'm pretty early days in. I didn't start that until June. It took a lot of like processing to get started and had to wait for the next cohort. So yeah, I'm only a few months in on that, and it's a lot to take in for somebody that has no project management experience and no kind of office corporate world experience either, because everybody else in my cohort seems to be way more experienced than me and have way more knowledge than me. But I'm embracing it, I'm loving it. So yeah, I'm still doing my long days. I'm still working 7:30 till 6, 5 days a week, which is exhausting, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm plodding on. I'm gonna get the apprenticeship done and then see where I am after that, really. My hope is to transition over entirely to my admin role with the company that I work for called People Unboxed. I don't know if I've really spoken a lot about that here, but they are a learning and development company. We offer training basically out in the, big corporate wide world. But I'm not a trainer. I don't like, even though I'm sat here talking to you guys, I don't like standing in front of people and talking. It's actually my worst nightmare. And that's been my biggest thing at the moment in my apprenticeship. I've had to give a lot of presentations and I hate it, even though it's like sitting on a computer talking to one person. It's just so far out of my comfort zone. So I'm learning to embrace that and get better at that, and it's just forcing me to practice. But that's that. It's an 18-month long apprenticeship, so it's going to keep me busy for quite a while, but it's great for knitting. I'm not going to lie to you. So once a month I have a live lesson, if you like, which is 6-7 hours long. And whilst I take part in things, I can sit there and be knitting off camera at the same time. So that's awesome, but it's only once a month, so that posy might take me a while. All of my other meetings at work, I can't really knit in. I do have to be present and make conversation, and yeah, probably shouldn't really be knitting in, so I don't. So that's work. Life, yes, the house, we did the kitchen, which was much needed and really wanted to do, but it's just a lot. When you have to knock down walls, and there's been a few hiccups along the way, I'm not going to lie to you, but it wouldn't be a Daniel and Lucy renovation if there wasn't. Yeah, we knocked down the walls, to open plan out the kitchen diner to be an open plan kitchen diner. And it was just a project. So Dan's parents are very involved in the renovating side of things because they have quite a lot of experience, so they've helped us quite a lot. But this time we were big boys and girls, and we did a lot of the kind of actual like physical knocking down. Like Dan's dad would come over and be like, right, this is your next step, blah 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 blah, and almost like set us homework. So we kind of got on with a lot of that ourselves, although he was here and he did help at points. There was a lot of like, okay, come on then, get on with it, which is great because that's how you gain the experience. But it's not so fun when you're living in it. It's very messy. But now it looks beautiful. It's not entirely done, like it's mostly done. It's functional. It was quite a good time of year to do it because we had the barbecue, so we could cook outside. But there's still a few little like painty bits to do. I don't think it will ever be entirely finished because by the time you're finished, you're then doing something else. But yeah, that's been that. So that has taken up a lot of time, and that's where most of my knitting time has gone. I was very hands-on, helping Dan as much as I could. So yeah, I wasn't sitting at the weekend and knitting my weekend away because I was up to my elbows in dust and dirt and brick and all the fun stuff that comes with a kitchen, and making the decisions on like, you know, what you want it to look like and designing it and all of that. It's been fun, but it's been a lot of work. And then, as if that wasn't crazy enough, we welcomed another little pup to the family. More recently, yeah, that's our most recent update, I guess. So I will insert some footage at the end. But as you all knew, we were expecting to get another puppy at some point. Phoebe's mum, unfortunately, never came into season again, so they couldn't breed her. But Phoebe's sister did. So Phoebe's sister had a litter in April. Sadly, a litter of just 2. There was also a little boy, but he didn't make it. So there were just 2 little girls, one of which we have and one of which Dan's parents have, which is fun. So we're doing the double trouble situation all over again. So yeah, we have welcomed little Penny into the family. She is 4 months old now, and it has been a little while. Dan wasn't exactly ready for another puppy, but I was desperate. I was like, Dan, come on, like, you're never gonna get the opportunity to get a like blood relative again. And so kind of twisted his arm. I was like, what's one more dog? Turns out one more dog is quite a lot more. Oh, the ice cream man. The whole family's gonna jump up and want ice cream. Anyway, yeah, don't tell Dan, but turns out getting a second dog is quite a lot of work. Obviously, I haven't been able to complain about it, so obviously I've been like, this is amazing, my life is fantastic. Because if I say anything negative, it's like, I told you so. Yeah, logistically, I don't think I really thought it through. Walking 2 dogs is quite different, and given that Penny can't walk quite as far as Phoebe, that's been my biggest challenge, because when I'm walking them in the morning, Dan is at work, so I'm on my own, so it's a lot of kind of walking, bringing one home, walking a bit more, coming home, trying to work. It's been a bit of a juggle, but the summer's been quiet for me with work. The kind of deal with my nanny hours is that I only work 20 hours all throughout the year a week. So in the school holidays, I only work 20 hours. So I only have them for a couple of days, whilst I'm still busy on the other 3 days with long days at People Unbox. I can do that from home. So that's been quite a nice juggle. They've also had annual leave, so I've had annual leave. So yeah, it's worked out quite well in terms of having pup, being home, being able to do the walking and whatnot. But she's a demon. Phoebe, I just don't know if we remember how mischievous puppies were. Phoebe's now 3, so I think we just forgot. It's either that or Penny's just crazy. I actually think Penny's just crazy. But Phoebe had got to that point where she was very calm. Dan would label her as boring. Like, she's just a 3-year-old, right? It comes alive when you take her out and you walk her, but around the house she's just sleeping all the time, because that's what dogs do. So inviting a puppy into that is interesting, because now she doesn't sleep all day. And we're up in the night and early in the morning, and they're romping around, and Penny is digging the garden again, and the lawn isn't perfect as Dan wanted it to be, you know, all of that. But I would totally embrace it for the moments where you see them kind of snuggled up together on the bed or playing really nicely. Like, it's all totally worth it in the end. But you get that kind of perfect first dog, and then you get the second one and you're like, oh wow, this is wild. Why did we do this? But obviously we wouldn't change it. We love her very much and she's very cute. She's just a big handful. She's already chewed through a plug, so that was fun. That was on Dan's watch and it was turned on, but she's fine. Nothing happened. She was very lucky. But yeah, she's been a handful, so I'm not gonna lie to you. My knitting really mojo has only just come back because of that, because I feel like we've got into a bit of a groove, and yeah, I've been able to sit down and knit a bit in the evenings, although now she does launch herself onto the sofa so I can get to my knitting. So there's no knitting basket on the sofa anymore, that lives in the cupboard. And whenever I'm sat there knitting, she just kind of stares at me out the corner of her eye like, what are you doing? And then will just jump on me, so do have to be careful because those little claws snag everything. But yeah, that's where I've been, and that's why my life has been slightly chaotic and wild. However, as I said, we're in a bit of a groove now. I feel like I'm going to need all of the warm clothing for my winter walking with them, and I'm here for it. So let's get some things on the needles, or maybe I should clear some needles, you know. Get working on some of the projects. Please let me know what you think about the Kintra and the Halloween socks. Yeah, I just need help and advice and guidance. I will chat to my friends about it too. But I won't be zooming next week. It's Dan's birthday, so we've got a couple of days of annual leave, so that's going to give me more knitting time too. Plus tomorrow is bank holiday, so Brucey bonus. Yeah, I'm now just sat here waffling on, and you're probably bored of listening to me after an hour and 15 minutes, so I'm going to go. I finished my coffee practically, and yeah, it has been so lovely to sit down and chat with you all again. I have missed it so much, and I promise not to leave it so long. Let me know how you feel about a stripy sweater mal, and I will get things in motion if that is something you want to take part in. But if not, totally fine too. Enjoy your, well, what's left of your summer, and I hope that you have lots of knitting time and lots of peaceful, relaxing time, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.